Tonight, your cat is going to make a decision. While you're lying in bed, half asleep, they're going to quietly scan the room, the couch, the windowsill, the warm spot by the radiator, and then they're going to walk over to you, and they're going to choose you. Not because you're the warmest option, not because there's nowhere else to go, because of something much deeper than that. Here's what most people never realize. A sleeping cat is a vulnerable cat. And vulnerability, for an animal wired by millions of years of survival instinct, is not something they give away easily. The fact that your cat closes their eyes next to you, fully, completely, without one ear open for danger, says something about you that no purr or headbutt ever could. In this video, we're going to go through everything your cat is actually telling you when they sleep beside you. What different positions mean, why they started adjusting their schedule to match yours, what happens inside them when you're stressed, and what it means, what it really means, if they suddenly stop. By the end of this, you're not going to see those quiet sleeping moments the same way again. You're going to understand them. If you're the kind of person who genuinely wants to understand what your cat is trying to communicate, not just the obvious stuff, but the quiet, hidden language, then subscribing to this channel is probably the best thing you can do for your relationship with them. We go deep here, and it's always worth it. Let's start at the beginning. With something so simple, you've probably never questioned it. Number 1, it's not about warmth, it's about trust. You've probably heard someone say, "Oh, cats just sleep with you because you're warm." And look, warmth isn't nothing. Cats do love it. But here's the problem with that theory. Your home is full of warm places, the sunny corner of the living room, the spot on top of the dryer, the patch of carpet that catches the afternoon light. Cats are experts at finding warmth. They don't need you for that. So when your cat bypasses every single one of those options and curls up against your legs or tucks themselves into the curve behind your knees, something else is happening. Something that warmth alone can't explain. Sleep is when cats are most exposed. In the wild, a sleeping cat is a cat that could be caught off guard, and their nervous system knows it. Even domesticated cats carry that wiring, which means choosing where to sleep isn't casual. It's a decision made by instinct, shaped over millions of years. When they choose you, they are choosing safety. There's a story, a small one, but it stays with you, about a rescue cat named Miso, who spent her first 6 months in a new home sleeping only in a closet. Alone, hidden, protected. Her owner never pushed, just let her take her time. And then one night, without any fanfare, Miso walked out of that closet and climbed onto the bed. She never went back. That night wasn't random. Something had shifted. Some invisible threshold had been crossed, and the closet lost. Trust isn't something cats perform. It's something they demonstrate through behavior, quietly, without ceremony. The fact that your cat sleeps with you means you passed a test you never even knew you were taking. And what they do while they sleep? That's where it gets even more interesting. Number 2, scent mixing, a sense of belonging. Before your cat falls asleep next to you, they almost always do something first. They rub their face against you. Maybe your arm, your hand, the edge of your pillow. It looks like affection, and it is. But it's also something more precise than that. Cats have scent glands along their cheeks, forehead, and chin. When they rub against you, they're not just expressing emotion. They're marking you, and themselves, with a shared scent. They're creating a blend, a signature that says, "We belong together." In the world of cats, scent is identity. It's how they recognize family, map their territory, and decide who is safe. When your cat mixes their scent with yours, they're essentially filing you under mine, not in a possessive way, but in the deepest, most instinctual sense of belonging. Think about what that means. Your cat, who is capable of being entirely self-contained, who does not need you the way a dog might, is choosing to weave you into their sense of self, into their definition of home. There's something quietly profound about that. A behaviorist once described it this way: cats don't love loudly. They love through proximity and scent and repetition. Every time your cat sleeps against you, they're reinforcing that shared identity, layering it, making it stronger. And here's something you've probably noticed without realizing what it meant. If you come home smelling like another animal, your cat will often go straight to rubbing you down again, reclaiming the blend, restoring what got disrupted. That's not jealousy. That's a cat quietly saying, "This is who we are." Which brings up a question you might not have considered. What does your cat think they're doing for you while you sleep? Number 3, the protective instinct. They think they're your bodyguard. This one tends to surprise people. Look at your cat. Really look at them. And the idea that they see themselves as your protector might seem almost funny. They weigh 8 pounds. They spend most of the day asleep. They once got spooked by a plastic bag. But here's what's actually going on underneath all of that. Cats are crepuscular predators. Dawn and dusk are their hours, the hours when they're most alert, most capable, most themselves. And in multi-cat households and in the wild, sleeping arrangements are never random. They're strategic. Who sleeps where matters. Who stays alert while others rest matters. When your cat positions themselves at the foot of the bed or near the door or facing outward, they're not just finding a comfortable spot. They're taking up a post. Ancient instinct tells them that the sleeping members of their group need to be watched over. And in their mind, you are part of their group. You're not their owner, you're their person, their family, and family gets protected. There's something almost heartbreaking about that if you sit with it. This small creature, domesticated but never fully tamed, still carrying the weight of those old instincts, choosing to spend them on you. A woman named Renata once described waking up at 3 a.m. to find her cat standing on the windowsill, staring outside, completely still, not playing, not distracted, just watching. She said it felt like having a tiny sentinel, and honestly, that's exactly what it was. Your cat doesn't know they're small, or maybe they know and they've decided it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing about where they sleep. It's not just the location that means something. It's the position. Number 4, sleep positions are emotional signals. Every position your cat sleeps in tells you something, not in a vague, everything means something kind of way, in a specific, behavioral, this is what we know kind of way. When a cat curls into a tight ball, tail wrapped around, nose tucked under, they're conserving warmth and protecting their vital organs. It's comfortable, but it's also slightly guarded. A cat who consistently sleeps like this around you is comfortable, but still holding a small part of themselves in reserve. Now think about a cat who rolls onto their back and shows you their belly. That's not an invitation to pet them. That's a declaration. The belly is the most vulnerable part of a cat's body. Exposing it means they feel completely safe. No threat is expected. No defense is needed. If your cat does this near you or on you, they are telling you something with their entire body that they have no other way to say. And then there's the position that looks like indifference, when your cat sleeps with their back to you. People sometimes read that as rejection. It isn't. Turning their back means they trust you to watch their blind side. They're not worried about what's behind them because you're there. There was a man named Joel who took it personally every time his cat, Figo, slept facing away. He thought Figo preferred the wall. Then he learned what it actually meant. He said it changed everything. He stopped feeling dismissed and started feeling trusted. The pressed against you position, when they're physically leaning into you, maximum contact, that one's the clearest of all. It's not just warmth they're after. It's closeness. It's the feline version of holding your hand. Pay attention to how your cat sleeps. They've been telling you things for years, and those positions, they didn't happen overnight. Your cat learned to sleep this way around you because of something quietly remarkable they've been doing all along. Number 5, they adapted their whole routine because of you. Cats are not naturally creatures of human hours. Left to their own instincts, they'd be active around dawn and dusk, the hunting hours, and sleep through chunks of the day and night on their own schedule. That's what their biology asks of them. That's the rhythm they were built for. But watch a cat who has been living closely with a person for a while. Watch what they actually do. They wait. They follow. They show up at bedtime. They're there in the morning when the alarm goes off. Somehow, this animal that has no obligation to align with your schedule has aligned with your schedule. That's not a small thing. Behavioral researchers who study cat-human bonds describe this as social synchrony. the tendency for cats to shift their activity patterns to match those of the people they're bonded with. They don't do this with strangers. They don't do it out of necessity. They do it because the bond is strong enough that being in rhythm with you matters to them. Think about what that requires. It requires your cat to consistently notice your patterns, to track when you sleep, when you wake, when you're home, to care enough about proximity to adjust their own internal clock around yours. There's a quiet loyalty in that, not the loud, tail-wagging loyalty of a dog, something more understated, more chosen. A cat who waits for you at bedtime isn't doing it out of habit. They're doing it because they want to be there when you settle. One woman described her cat, Cleo, sitting outside the bathroom every morning, waiting. Not for food. The bowl was already full. Just waiting. Just wanting to be around when the day started. That's bonding. Simple and real. And it doesn't stop at schedules. Because your cat isn't just tracking your patterns. They're tracking something deeper than that. Number 6, they sense your emotions and internal state. You've had a terrible day. You haven't said a word about it. You walk in, drop your bag, sit on the couch, and your cat comes over. Not bouncing, not demanding food, just present. Maybe they sit near you. Maybe they step onto your lap with an unusual gentleness. Maybe they just settle close, breathing quietly, like they know. They do know. Cats have a sensory toolkit that we're only beginning to understand. Their sense of smell is many times more powerful than ours. Powerful enough to detect shifts in cortisol, the stress hormone, that our own noses can't register. They notice changes in our breathing patterns, in the pace of our movements, in how we hold our bodies, in the subtle, invisible signals that our internal state broadcasts without our permission. When you're anxious, your breathing changes. Your body language shifts. The rhythm of your day becomes different. And your cat, who has been quietly cataloging your normal for months or years, notices the deviation immediately. What they do with that information is remarkable. They move closer, not because they fully understand what's wrong, but because something in them responds to the signal. Distress in a member of their group, and you are their group, triggers a proximity response. They come to you not out of curiosity, but out of something that, if we're being honest, looks an awful lot like care. Studies have found that cats show measurable behavioral changes around emotionally distressed owners. More contact seeking, more time spent near them, increased vocalization. They're not indifferent. They're responding. The next time your cat settles on your chest after a hard day, they're not being randomly affectionate. They read something in you, and they answered it, which is exactly why the last thing we need to talk about matters so much. Number 7. When they stop. That's a signal too. If everything we've talked about is true, and it is, then a cat who suddenly stops sleeping with you is not just changing their routine. They're telling you something. It might be physical. Pain makes cats withdraw. An older cat who suddenly prefers to sleep alone might be hurting somewhere, in a way they can't show you directly. Cats are wired to hide vulnerability, especially discomfort. If your cat has stopped seeking closeness, a vet visit is worth considering. Not as an overreaction, but as an act of paying attention. It might be environmental. A new person in the home, a change in routine, a smell that's wrong, a noise that's been disturbing them. Cats are exquisitely sensitive to their surroundings, and sometimes what looks like emotional distance is actually a response to something concrete that's changed. And sometimes it's relational. If something has shifted between you, if there's been more stress, more absence, more disruption than usual, your cat may be reflecting that back to you, not punishing you, just recalibrating, rebuilding their sense of safety before they're willing to be vulnerable again. The point is this: it's never random. Cats don't make changes like this for no reason. Every behavior is communication, and the absence of a behavior is communication too. If your cat has pulled away, the question worth asking isn't, "What did I do?" It's, "What does this cat need right now?" That shift in framing, from guilt to curiosity, from rejection to attention, is the difference between a person who has a cat and a person who truly understands one. Here's the thing about cats that I keep coming back to. They choose. Every single thing they do, the rubbing, the sleeping, the waiting by the door, is a choice. They don't owe us any of it. When your cat sleeps with you, they are telling you, in the only language they have, that you are their safe place. That is not a small thing to be. If this video gave you something, a like and a subscribe means more than you might think. It helps us keep making content like this for people who actually love their cats. And I'm genuinely curious. Where in the world are you watching from right now? Drop it in the comments.